Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hot Take, or episode 8. We're going to Kansas City to meet Billy Faldo. How's it going, man?
What's up, dude? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a nice Sunday afternoon. I'm finally in the light instead of this awful dark background.
That's
Um,
good. Like snowing here a little bit.
yeah, I think we're supposed to get some snow. But we'll get through this together. It's only April. Hopefully, it doesn't snow in May.
I think later this week it's going to be like 80, and then hopefully
Yeah.
that a little bit.
All right. So let's let the people know who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Billy. Most of you guys know that. I was born in Hartford, Connecticut, and moved to the Kansas City area when I was like 5. Um, Grew up here. Went to school at KU, so I'm a huge Jayhawks basketball fan. Studied mechanical engineering, and now I work at an internationally renowned water pump manufacturer here in Kansas City.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What do you pump water out of what? Like wells or like just you stick it in the ground and just
So generally we do installations in like wastewater stations or drinking water stations. So these are pumps that move wastewater, provide drinking water. We do flood control. We actually had a huge installation in New Orleans after Katrina.
Yeah.
Where at the time it was the largest pump station in the world, to prevent another Katrina from happening. So
Oh yeah.
Sure.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like that's
some
some cool work.
some stuff. Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll into the next question. Amar is always asking us, what other video games did you play before Killer Queen, or what do you play now?
Yeah. So I guess like concurrently now, I don't really play that much other than Killer Queen. From time to time, I'll see like a good RPG on like Xbox Live
Yeah.
for cheap that I've heard about, but it'd always be like 3 years old or something. So I'll pick that up, play through it for a little bit, and then eventually quit before I finish.
Yeah.
But historically, growing up, I played a lot of RPGs with my brother. We would basically just like play through pretty much every popular RPG that people know about on the couch together, and later kind of got into a lot of MMOs and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Well,
it's-
what are some of the RPGs? I played like a little bit of like Kingdom Hearts, but nothing too hardcore on my end.
yeah, so we're talking the Final Fantasies, especially the I guess the earlier ones, so 2/4 or 3/6.
Hmm.
The Chrono Triggers, the Secret of Manas, Tales of Vesperia series. Those were real fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I always wanted to pick some of those up. So I know you've got some other favorites outside of the video game world, and I think we've got one of them right behind you right now. Black Map. Uh,
Oh yeah.
let's let the people know what's Black Map.
So Black Map is one of my newer favorite bands, and the whole story behind, I guess, how I found them out is they were opening for another band I was gonna go see called Nothing More, and I got into that band because of another band that I was listening to. But so I'm a huge music fan. I go to shows a lot, pretty much as often as I can, and I've made the mistake several times of not checking out the full bill before I go, and then later finding out that someone who played I end up really getting into.
Yeah.
So I didn't make that mistake with Black Map. I listened to them and almost immediately like something just kind of clicked. And I was like, man, I really like dig what these guys are doing. So their story is they're a rock trio, and the 3 guys they're older. They're probably like 40-ish now, but they all had their own projects prior, and all of their projects were relatively successful. Some more than others, but the point being is that they're all like very seasoned musicians, and they became friends from playing together over the years. And then one day they were just at a bar drinking beers, and kind of had a conversation saying like, you guys just want to make some like heavier rock? And the answer was yes. So they got together, they jammed, and it was good because they're all like really, really good, fantastic musicians. So they do things that I think aren't like too overstated. No one's really trying to show off. No one's trying to steal I guess, attention from the song. They're all just kind of trying to, I guess, serve the song, so to speak.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, they just make really good, solid rock music,
Yeah.
and they're awesome live, and they're really cool dudes live. Actually, the last time I came through Kansas City, I ended up hanging out with them after the show, and like brought them to a Casey Jazz Bar, and that was cool as hell.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
that's fun.
I know you're a musician yourself, so it's always great, and I am as well, just to connect with someone else, especially someone who's so good at, their craft, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in music?
Yeah. So music has always kind of been a primary interest of mine. So my brother, the middle brother that I played all these RPGs with, also started playing guitar.
Mhm.
And way back when, he was just like, "Hey man, like you should start playing bass in your orchestra, in your school's orchestra, and also get a bass guitar." Because I think he wanted a pocket bassist at that point.
Sure, yeah.
And I was young and impressionable, and I did it. And I ended up like kind of getting pretty good. Like through orchestra, I was first chair and stuff, and I don't know. My music interest developed more quickly than my peers. Like I remember listening to like real bands back in elementary school when people were like still checking out Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's a weird memory to have and bring up, but
Not a fan of the '90s pop, I see.
I mean, every piece of music has its place.
Sure.
But yeah, no other fourth grader was listening to Tool. So
Oh yeah. Well, I can only imagine. Yeah.
Eventually, I actually had the opportunity in high school to take a music theory class, which was, I guess, supposed to be offered primarily to the upperclassmen.
Hmm.
And they almost didn't let me in it. And I unfortunately had to drop orchestra, my performing piece of my musical career at that point, to go take this music theory class. And I loved it, and I crushed it. I think if I wasn't the top student, I was damn near close to it.
Yeah.
So hair flip. But yeah, so like that part like really kind of worked into like my mechanical mindset in terms of like engineering, where it's just like you can totally build a song on paper, almost like an equation, and like know it's gonna sound at least like halfway decent. Like that aspect like really fascinated me.
Mm-hmm. I always was fascinated by like the physical aspects of music, just like how airwaves can affect us so much on that kind of level that music can.
Speakers, man, like how do they work?
Yeah, no, I know, right? Luckily, we have science to explain all of it to us. But speaking of explaining things, I have a bunch of audience questions that I need to throw at you.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna start off with something really hot from a Kansas City expat, Ryan Weisner. Why is Kansas City barbecue sauce bad?
Well, it's not. So God damn it, Jim and my friends in the Carolinas. Sauce is sauce, man, and like if you're drowning your barbecue in sauce, then it's not good barbecue to begin with. So that's my opinion.
You're all about the smoking and the cooking
man,
itself.
Like the sauce should be an accent, and if you truly do have bad sauce, it really shouldn't ruin the barbecue.
Sure, yeah.
Get up on its own.
Yeah, I feel you. Let's see. How do you keep Newman from ruining everything?
Oh yeah, well, so we actually give him a monthly allowance of $420.69, and generally that keeps him under control. So yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
It would keep me busy, I think, in Kansas City. Let's see. Jorge out of Charlotte asks, "How do you feel about living with cats?"
Well, I grew up with two cats, and one was like really cool and acted like a dog, and then the other one didn't and would like pee and poop all over the place. So I guess I'm split. I'm split on it. It depends on the cat.
So no definitive stance on cat living. Um,
I'm giving these people what they want. Yeah. Like,
let's
well,
see.
maybe.
I want to make sure I get this one just right. Besides Feldkamp, Garzon, Compton, and Goldberg, who were you most impressed with from the team hashtag XXX Dingers Out XXX at Camp KQ?
Honestly, I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I watched. They were okay, I guess.
Yeah,
I
they got
think.
beat, right?
Yeah, but they all picked Fox, so like, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um, how did you and Christian meet, and how many sports do you play from Amar?
So I'm gonna do the sports one first because that's
Yeah.
real easy. So I'm into baseball, softball. I'm actually like pretty good at those, but like other sports, maybe not so much. Like
Yeah.
basketball, I can't fucking hit the broadside of a barn. I have a perfect jump shot to always like hit the back iron.
Yeah.
So Christian and I met at work, and we worked in the same kind of department. And he told me later that he always thought that I was a grumpy asshole because in the morning, like I don't want to deal with anybody, and I think my face like completely shows it. And I told him I thought he was like some preppy, SOB because he would always come in and like super nice dress and like look like Mr. GQ and he had mohawk just right. So yeah, we didn't like each other at first, and then we started talking about video games. And we're like, oh, so you used to play some of these RPGs? And then we went to a beer fest together, and that was it.
Yeah.
He was actually with me when we all discovered Killer Queen. There was a third guy involved, Colton. Some of you guys know him, but he works with us too. Yeah, we all found it together. Nikki crushed us at it, and then we came back for more. So
Yeah. I'm gonna roll on to the next question. Let's say that Black Map started playing KQ. Who would be playing in what roles, and why?
okay, so I think that there are three guys on the band. I think naturally Chris would be playing Abs because he's like a big kind of hulking dude. And he'd probably be like a speed warrior because he's always hitting hard and fast, like bringing that endless melee to the other team. Mark, their guitarist, would be playing Chex because he generally wears the same like full black getup with his little driver's hat on. And he'd probably be like the ultimate flex guy because as a guitarist he's like all over the place too. So he'd be definitely making some heavy waves in that role. Ben, their vocalist, would be on Skulls. He's got a lot of tattoos and he's got chest pieces, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he would definitely be a snail rider because like he would just be the driver, man.
Yeah. I feel you.
And then I guess for the fifth, it would probably have to be my buddy Alec, who just opened up a new brewery here in town called Strange Days Brewing Company. And I wear their hoodie around all the time. So a lot of you people have seen me in that at like your own tournaments or somewhere else. But clearly he'd be running Econ, collecting those ingredients. And then,
making a nice brew. And then of course you're queening.
And then I'm queening. Yeah, I would just have to like try to be like a good queen, like maybe I don't know, Queen Octavia, trying to be everywhere. You know what I mean?
Just try to kill the whole enemy team. Don't play safe. That's for wimps. Let's see. Huh?
Just try to stick the other queen.
That's the way to do it. I know you and pretty much your whole scene are pretty big fans of karaoke. What is the best karaoke song, and who's your favorite karaoke partner?
So obviously Kiss from a Rose is a Kansas City favorite. So singing that is always a good time, at least for us, probably not for anybody listening. I would say, I'm sorry, Hugo. I know, I feel like this is you, but Christian and I will do some Linkin Park songs together and duet them, and fun going back and forth between the Mike parts and the Chester parts. So
yeah,
that might be my favorite karaoke partner.
Yeah, Linkin Park, a classic band. Cool. So let's just jump into some scene stuff. Kansas City is a really interesting scene, I think.
Thank you.
More, it's you got a lot of characters. Chad Felcho on Slack, otherwise known as Jim, and of course Newman.
Yep.
But you also got like Wyatt the Pilot, Austin, Hugo, the rest of Blood Honey. Let's talk about though the size of Kansas City. It's a bit smaller for a scene of its age.
It's real small.
But I know it's a really tight knit group at the same time. So I don't know. Give us the Kansas City story, man.
Kansas City story, as concise as I can make it, goes like this. So it starts with Barry and Roe, and they used to live in Chicago and play with those kids up there. And eventually they moved to Kansas City, and Roe basically badgered the hell out of Uptown to get Killer Queen. And back then it was like, you want me to buy this game that's like $20,000. I've never heard of it. No one else has it. It's huge. You're out of your mind, right?
Yeah.
And I guess her persistence just paid off, and eventually we got one. Mm-hmm. So I think they had some experience from their time in Chicago about, how to build and curate a scene. So they did the whole Facebook group thing. They were like very active in recruiting people. And eventually like we got to a size that was like consistently getting, 8 to 12 teams for a tournament wouldn't be a big deal. So at this same time, we're kind of like wanting to do something similar to Chicago's League Night. And we leaned on those guys a lot for providing kind of like their system, their methods, their rule sets, whatever, to go and pitch at Uptown. And at the time, Uptown was very much interested in being in control of pretty much any aspect of anything that went on at their business, which was understandable. But unfortunately, like not great for us because we had seen like these things that worked. And eventually we basically had to have this league night setting where you got drafted onto teams, you would have set teams, you would play for like 6 to 8 weeks and then have a tournament at the end of it. So that did really two things in my opinion. One was like there was one great team that got established, maybe a second one that could compete, but then everyone else like pretty much week in, week out would just get their asses kicked by the good teams. And it also didn't allow for new people along the way to like join this community. So, I'm not going to blame that entirely for lack of growth, but I did see towards the end of it, like people dropping off and losing interest. And it just wasn't really a great thing for us.
Yeah.
So fast forward, like Minneapolis blows up. We see some things happening up there that weren't allowed to happen down here. We kind of are like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is this happening? Mm-hmm. We go through some growing pains, I'll call them. And eventually today, which is great, the Uptown management has completely come around and been like, we tried some things, maybe didn't work out, but like, we're listening to you guys. We're pretty much going to do whatever you want at this point. So that's rad as hell. So I think we're finally on the same page. We have a tiny scene and we have a lot of work to do to make it grow now.
Yeah.
That's, it's a challenge. So we're working on it.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, my mic's echoing a little bit. We had a question actually come in asking how you came about kind of self-appointing yourself to fill this kind of power vacuum. That's a bit pointed of a question, but
I understand.
I'll maybe I can rephrase it. What led you to step up and kind of try to fill this gap now that Kansas City's Uptown is like, we're listening. What do you want?
Right. Yeah. So the whole idea started when, so they handed us the keys at a time, I think it was like pretty close to maybe after BB2. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, I was pretty checked out. Like I was just exhausted from being involved with Killer Queen and needed a break.
Yeah.
And Matt was also like involved. He started making these events for people, and just like week after week of me not really doing anything and Matt making these events, but like things not really working out. I decided like something needs to happen. And I think here, like we have a lot of people with great ideas and we talk about ideas a lot. And I think where we struggle or have challenges at is executing, right?
Yeah.
And seeing it from up down's perspective, like you can get 25 people in a room and talk ideas out, but that might not be the best thing to do if you actually want to make things happen. So the idea was funnel ideas into these people that could then go to up down, do the nitty gritty work, working things out, and then come up with things that you would be pretty sure the community would be happy with. Mm-hmm. Just kind of like, I guess, maybe cut out some of the middlemen in between. So that was the idea behind it. And when I initially pitched it, I pitched it like that. And it was never my intention to have it be like a self-appointing position. You know, I asked for volunteers, and my original vote structure was to be like, hey, you signed up for this, vote for 4 of the people that you think you would work well together with. And then most votes are those people.
Yeah.
And, you know, I bumped it like 3 weeks in a row or something. And at the end of it, 6 people signed up. So I was like, well, it's real dumb to kick one person out. We now just have 6 people who are going to do this. So that's how that happened. Did I lose part of that question?
No, I don't think so. It's interesting to see how leadership has come about in a more organized way. I feel like often it kind of just happens where someone is in a position to make things happen, and it happens. Well, you know, whether they work for the bar, they know someone who works at the bar. So to see like, you know, even some kind of structured voting process, even if it wasn't engaged with much, you know, it's an interesting take on it, and I hope it works out for you, for sure.
Yeah, I do too. I think things are a little slow right now, but we've got some things moving. So hopefully soon we'll be able to announce some tournaments and stuff like that. So
yeah, well, I can't wait to hear about it. I know Kansas City has a tournament scheduled, July 16th.
I think that's right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
Yeah. Is this still an open invitational? I know it's part of the MCS series.
Yeah. So I don't know if that rule set has been posted yet. Has it?
No.
I feel like you know.
It has not been posted yet.
Well, sneak preview. Yeah, that thing is still open. So anyone can come and play. The way it's going to work, at least in terms of MCS, is I think anyway, you would still need to have a team of at least 3 Midwesterners to have qualifying points. But anybody's welcome to come and you know, come steal our crown again.
Right. So just to be clear, Kansas City is open to any teams, or you still have to have Midwesterners there?
Open to anybody.
Okay.
And then I think if you want points for the whole Midwest circuit, then you would have to abide by the 3 of 5 rule for Midwest.
Gotcha.
That's my understanding.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, of course, the details will be covered when you guys get that out. First tournament coming up, I think in Minneapolis, April 22nd, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited to hear about that. But before that, of course, we have Birds and the Bees.
Yeah.
Very close around the corner. Which team are you playing with for that one?
So I'm on a team called blackmapmusic.com. It's kind of blood honey minus 2 people plus 2 people.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I hope to see you there and play against you, of course.
Yeah.
And of course, pop off against you. Get some payback for GDC. You did get a little bit of flack from Chaco calling you out because your team was loud. Your team did come off the cab whenever you would get wins. So I don't know. I just want to give you some space to talk about your experience with what's going on in your head whenever you do pop off or whenever you are, shouting on the cab.
Sure. So obviously it's been a hot topic pretty recently, and I mean this goes back to I don't know, KQ18 probably. So I think there are like three elements to discuss here. One is popping off, one is shit talking in general, and then the third is probably just like general loudness. So I guess I'll touch on the first one that's easiest. Shit talking, like basically don't. Like we do it in Kansas City because like we think it's funny, but like we would never think it would be acceptable to do it to somebody who wasn't in on the joke or whatever. So in general, I don't think like you should really be saying anything pointed to the other team, really ever. Although I think I did compliment Josh B at GDC when he was crushing me, which I don't know if that counts as like taunting or something. It's just like, oh my God, dude, like nice kill.
Yeah.
So pop-offs, I think, would be the easiest thing to cover next. Like people, I don't know like where people are getting this idea that pop-offs are to rub something into the other team's face. Maybe in like other communities it is. Like I didn't even know what a pop-off was until somebody like told me that it was this thing that people are doing. I was like, okay, cool. But people just need to understand that like there are emotional players. Like I grew up playing team sports pretty much all my life. And like when my teammates would succeed, I would be happy. And when my team succeeded, I would be happy. And like, it's just, I think part of kind of like digging in to the trenches with some other people, against what's basically the world at that point. And then just being really incredibly happy when something good happens. So for me, it's a completely emotional response and I don't think about anything. Honestly, most of the time it's just like, I'm surprised that I did something awesome. I guess we can look at like game one of the finals where I got that like stupid kill on you to end the first game. Like that was a fucking accident. And I flew off the cabinet because in my mind, I was like, that's awesome. It's also hilarious. Like people are going to be like, oh, that was a nasty kill, but it was a total accident. Yeah. And you can actually see me telling the rest of my team that it was an accident and I'm laughing about it. So, I wasn't doing that to like, give you shit or your team any shit. It just happens, man. Like,
yeah.
I think when we were down at Phoenix and Tyler's team was doing really, really well, like they were also a very emotional team. And I think these things happen when your team is either an underdog or like evenly matched. So like people aren't going to pop off when you got like a 1 seed versus a 12 seed. Like, and if they do, then yeah, that's probably a problem. But I think there's just real genuine excitement. And then sometimes that's the form that it manifests itself into. But you can see those guys popping off after every win. And it's because they were just like stoked about playing the game and getting wins. Like that's all there was to it. So yeah, pop-offs, if they are genuine and emotional, then, I don't have any problem with them whatsoever, assuming that they don't include like cursing out the other team or some ridiculous thing like that.
Sure.
And if someone does it to me, I'm totally cool with it because, first of all, I would be a hypocrite if I wasn't. But like I realized that like people are just having fun. That's really what it comes down to. And then I guess like that's pretty much all I have to say about that. The yelling, I could see people think of as being like obnoxious. I get that. I'd be like, yeah, cool. I get it. It's maybe annoying or something, but it's pretty much the same thing as like popping off. Like when you do something cool in a game and like you just have that emotional response, like maybe there are better words to say than let's fucking go. But I think the response is genuine because a lot of the times where it was happening to us, it's when somehow we were down 2 queen lives to like none. And our team was just battling back. And eventually just like one person would pick off the queen there, one person would pick off the queen there. Some people would wipe the whole snail. Like good things were happening. And we were just like clawing our way back into these games. And we were just really happy about it. So
yeah,
that's it, man. Like I don't think people are yelling to like tilt the other team or be disrespectful to the other team. I think people just need to understand, like, some people have fun in different ways. And, you know, there were comments in the chat that I kind of got into because, you know, I like to review the Twitch chat after our games just to see like what people said about the series and whatnot, because I'm generally curious. I saw some comments and I kind of shot back a little bit, but there was one in particular that was like, act like you've been there. And like, you can have that view, but my response to that is like, act like you're still excited to be there. It's a game. It should be fun. Like, I would hate to think that this was ever like so serious as to where I could never enjoy success in it. Why would I travel then? Sure. That sounds crazy. Sure. So,
yeah. I mean, I think the response we might get though from a lot of you talked about is about expressing a positive emotion, right? But sometimes these expressions can negatively affect other people. And I understand you're saying they need to understand why you do it, but that's still putting the onus on them, right? To say like, no, you need to see why I'm excited and why I'm happy about this, which feels like that might be lacking, you know, an acknowledgement of their side.
So sure, like, so people will get upset about anything, I think, and I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but if you're in a serious competitive tournament and you can't handle the other team being happy that they're beating your team, I don't know, maybe it's not the right environment for you. You know, that's assuming that there's not like blatant disrespect. I think like if you're generally tilted by like people cheering for themselves, then I don't know, man. What do you do in other parts of life where things don't go well for you? I don't know. It's like that's a much bigger question. And
yeah,
you know, yeah, of course, be polite and nice to everybody, but also like maybe don't. Yeah, that's tough to answer. I don't know. Yeah, how do you dictate someone else's emotional response when I'm saying like this is ours?
Right. Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts. I mean, I think it's a good space. That we're talking about it, because I think some people are feeling hurt, but we don't want to stifle other people in the process, right? I'm trying to find this balance.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is aiming to upset anyone else, but so I'll give you the realest world example that I have. When we were at Bumble Bash 2, and we were playing in group stages, we were playing against Pigeon Rats, and like, you know, no disrespect to anybody else who was in our group, but we knew that they would probably be our biggest competition. So we split the first 2 games with them and went into the rubber match. And, you know, my team was me, Matt, Esparza, Wyatt, and Austin. Like, you know, players who are kind of emotional. And we won on a close game for the 3rd game. And we stepped off. And like it wasn't excessive at all, in my opinion. We literally just all went, yeah, but all at the same time. So it was a little loud.
Sure.
And we got a warning for it. And it like back then, I remember thinking it was the most ridiculous thing where it was literally like, what kind of culture are we really pushing on players now? Like they can't have fun at all. That sounds not fun. I don't know, man. People are going to have their opinions, I guess.
Yeah. I'm going to move on to another question. Okay. Just to explore some more of Kansas City's space. Part of this, the question asking about your recent involvement in leadership also asked a question about the balance between casual members and more dedicated members. Yeah. You know, members who are really out there to try and become the best. As now a new leader of a scene, where's your view on where that balance is?
Sure. So I think the schism between casual players and I guess players who are in it mostly for the competitive aspect happens everywhere. And I think it was back in like KQ 17 where Minneapolis brought like 70 people to Chicago or something ridiculous like that. They brought a ton of people. And I remember talking, I think it was with Matt. I was like, I think this is where like they're going to start seeing their divide, because what ends up happening is like once you venture out, you realize that like you have your own top dogs of your own scene, but then like you go somewhere and you get your ass kicked and you're like, oh my God, like you can get so much better. So there are people who are interested in that. There are people who are there for like hanging out and drinking and playing this game or whatever, the community aspect, and things start to divide. So it happens everywhere. So Minneapolis is going through some things right now. Guys, it happens everywhere. Like I hope, get through it. My opinion on that is that both groups are critically important to a thriving scene. And they should learn to coexist and realize that like, if you're a tryhard, like you don't have to try hard all the time. You could like make room for some of the, you know, lesser experienced players to like have a good time, or like join a team where you know you're probably not going to win but still have a good time playing. And then in the same respect, if you're a casual player, know that like these other people also have goals and they want to be able to travel and play against some of the best teams in the country, the world, I guess you could say, and you know, like put their best foot forward. So I think people just need to realize like if you can be 80% happy, then like I think everyone can be happy.
Yeah, I think finding that compromise is definitely a good way to go about it. So let's talk about the game itself. I'm not actually that familiar with your history in the game. Have you ever been a queen? Is that what you want to be, a queen? Are you a speed or a slow warrior? You know, those are going out of style nowadays.
Yeah. So when we first started playing, pretty much the two guys, Christian and Colton, we all wanted to queen. And, you know, back in the day, I queened pretty regularly up until Bumble Bash 1. And then that's when like we just threw this random team together. Newman was going to be our queen because he was the best out of all of us. And then ever since like that happened, and then I kind of started like getting onto like really honestly like good teams. I still have no idea how this has ever happened. But because of that, my role was just like whatever it needed to be. So I started kind of just doing a little bit of everything. And it's been fun. Like I like doing that. So, you know, I don't know, like at a high level, I don't think I could really queen against like a you or a Domish or Cody. Actually, I think I may have hat-tricked Cody when he was here. But I also was feeding him alcohol. So
yeah.
But you know, like during our normal nights, I can hold my own, and it's really not a problem. Same on speed and like vanilla, and I'll do objectives. Like, I guess in general, I'm just like a very well-rounded player. I actually recall like I went to the ledge during one of the games you were commentating in GDC, and you're like, "Oh, and Billy's going to the ledge, huh?"
Yeah. Well, you know, I never took you as a ledge guard, man. But you know, yeah, you showed you could stop a few berries.
Yeah, a couple. I learned from Wild Pilot, so
yeah. What do you think? What do you think it is about people named Wyatt and being good ledge guards? Is there something there?
I don't know, but yeah, it's a good streak so far.
I'll just change my name to Wyatt so I can get good at ledge guarding.
Yeah, what if you had a team full of Wyatts? Then you could only ledge guard. Like no berries would ever get in, but you'd probably lose a lot of games.
Yeah, but I don't know. That'd be a fun team. Both the Wyatts that I know of are pretty dope. I think there's a Wyatt in Seattle too.
Yeah, there is. Do we have 5 Wyatts?
Oh no. I'll have to do some research. But I want to ask you if you've got any words of wisdom or closing remarks that you want to do.
I don't know. I think have fun. And I guess like going back to the most controversial thing that's been said here is like if you genuinely have a problem with like behavior of somebody else, it's probably best to go talk to them about it instead of like blasting them on chat. I think most people who get caught up in emotions like aren't trying to be mean, and would listen to you being like, listen, like this is really upsetting. Like I feel hurt because, you know, we're all friends and I think we'd like to continue to be that. So on that note, that's what I have to say about that. In terms of like community, like, yeah, have fun, include everybody. Don't take this game too seriously because it's not worth taking too seriously.
Yeah.
listen to Black Map. Oh yeah, here's a link to the playlist that I'm going to provide you.
Awesome.
Some of my personal favorites.
Yeah. All right, so you heard it here first, folks. Oh, wait, he's got more.
I missed the opportunity too. Like, I dressed for the show.
Oh my god. Come on, man. You're giving me flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
You heard it here first, folks. Slide into those DMs. You don't need to blast someone in Buzz every time they upset you. But thank you so much, Billy, for chatting with me. It's been great. Chatting about your awful barbecue sauce and everything else under the sun. And thanks everybody for tuning in to the hot take. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.